Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is Kaltun Karani. Thank you so much for accepting my invitation to come and listen to the story behind why I wrote Intentionally Rising. It's a workbook, it's a lifestyle design for the conscious Muslim, and it's something that is so dear to my heart. I'm so proud of, and I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to put a lot of barakah in it and allow you to find what you need in it. So I wanted to tell you the story behind this book and how I wrote it. It's a very long story, and I struggled to come up with where to start. So I'll tell you about so a specific time that I remember. A specific story that I want to connect to this book is a day I was leaving my friend's house. This is in 2005. Maybe sometime around July, August of 2005. I was a student at Ohio State University. I was doing accounting. So I was leaving my friend's house, and I saw a lady walking by, a Muslim lady. She was Somali, wearing a bisar. And so I stopped, drove back, and I asked her, Mama, do you need a ride? And she said yes. She came in my car, and I took her where she needed to go. And when we were done, right before she got out of my car, she made a ton of dua for me. And I remember sitting there and thinking to myself, none of this dua is going to be accepted for you because you don't pray. You don't pray, and so because of it, Allah will not answer any of these du'as. This lady is wasting her time making du'a for you. What a useless person you are, Kaltun. You are just going to go to hellfire anyway. Okay? And I wasn't a practicing Muslim at the time. I knew I was a Muslim. In my heart, I believed in Islam and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but I struggled to pray, and I could never get myself to pray. Okay? I always had this fear, you're going to die and you don't even pray. So a few months later, a bunch of other things happened, and some of my friends made me take a class. And this class was an Aqidah class with Sheikh Yasir Qadi. It was an Al-Maghrib class. It was my first Al-Maghrib class. They literally forced me to take it. One of them refused to let me go, and she said, I will pay for the class. You're not leaving. And I remember feeling defeated and walking into this classroom and thinking I'd rather just be in bed this weekend and not be in this environment, And I remember sitting in class and being challenged, completely challenged. And the Sheikh kept on talking about how, saying La ilaha illallah, saying the kalima, grants you Jannah and grants you the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it was like he was speaking a new language, a language I didn't know. And I asked them, what do you mean? The one who doesn't pray is a kafir, is a disbeliever. How does somebody go to Jannah when they don't even pray? And what Sheikh Yasir did is that he appealed to my curiosity, and he said to me, you weren't here last week, so you don't know what we talked about last week, so go back to those notes. And I was just whoa, wait a minute, something that I had believed to be true my whole life might not be true. Something that has caused me a lot of internal struggle could be not real. So another thing that he talked about in that classroom was the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala being kind and compassionate, Rahman ar-Rahim. And I realized my entire life I was saying it, but I didn't really understand it in context to myself. Why would Allah not listen to me? Why would Allah not hear me? Why would Allah not care to answer the dua of a miskeen woman, or this woman that cared, that was so grateful that she just wanted to say, may Allah reward you for what you have just done for me. So I remember thinking this idea of Allah being kind and merciful. What it did is that it made it easy for me. It made it easy for me to simply act from a place of Allah loves me. Allah loves me and cares about me, because I've been, raised like many Muslims and many people in this world, that if you don't do what God tells you to do, then God is going to be so angry and he's going to punish you. And what that does is that it makes us defensive, and it makes us say, bring it on. Like, I don't care, I don't care. I am ready to be punished, right? That's what it does to some people, right? And that's what it did to me. And it was like, not from a place of I don't care, but it was from a place of internally, I had no motivation to seek Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But as soon as that love was the idea of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala caring for us was put in there, the struggle was so much easier, right? I actually had never missed a salah after that course. Never intentionally missed a salah after that class. And that really took me by surprise, because it used to be like, it would be in Ramadan, I would be fasting, but I wouldn't pray. And so to me, I really believe in the power of fixing our belief system, fixing our mindsets, the things that we hold to be so true in our heart and in our subconscious mind, that we act upon it. Right? We act upon it. We don't realize where our struggle is because of a belief that we actually hold. There's a quote that I read by Victor Hugo. I don't know if I'm saying his name right, but basically he says that the supreme happiness in life is the conviction that we are loved, right? And if everybody is looking for this love, and we identify our success and our happiness in this dunya based on being loved, then whose love is eternal? Whose love is there forever? Is it our parents? No. Sometimes they might hurt us, or they might pass away, or they might not be around to celebrate, or they might not agree with some of the things that we're doing. Is it our siblings? We know that human beings are temporary, right? Even our children that we give unconditional love to, and our parents who give us unconditional love, still there is a void. Ibn al-Qayyim, rahimahullah, he says that there is a void and estrangement in everyone's heart, that nothing can fill it except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So somebody could have the height of success and still feel unhappy, right? And that was me. Like, I remember feeling like, here I am, I just graduated with my undergraduate degree. I am working at this company that is paying me really well, and I see my career moving up here. I saw myself at what others considered for a 25, a 26-year-old, like, successful. But I was miserable. And I was using food to numb my emotions and the difficulties that I was facing. In what is my purpose? Who am I? What am I worth? What am I bringing into this world? What am I doing that would energize my soul, right? And those were not easy questions to ask myself. So I spent a lot of time alone crying. I spent a lot of time reflecting and thinking. And when I think about those days, right now, I am so grateful for them, because they moved me. Those painful emotions moved me from the core. And I immersed myself in what brought me some joy, what brought me understanding, and that was learning and studying. And at the time after I graduated with my undergraduate degree, it was learning the deen, because I found a lot of answers in them. Allah found a lot of answers for my existence, for the way of life, for what I have been taught, that were being challenged, what I have been taught my whole life. Like, I rewrote my life story. I rewrote my history, right? So this workbook is a result of the past 14, 15 years of searching, of learning, of practicing, of tears, of supporting others with it. Because alhamdulillah, like, Allah has also blessed me with this personality where I'm always around people, learning and teaching and interacting and leading groups and speaking and holding classes. And I think through teaching, I have learned it even more for my own self. It helped me solidify things. So I put this workbook together so that it could have the Islamic principles. I was somebody that spent, I can't tell you how many hours at Barnes & Noble in the self-help section trying to help myself, literally trying to help myself, right? And you notice that every other book is trying to tell us the principles of happiness as they know it. And a lot of it resonates with us. But then you realize, like, who has the answer? Who truly has the answer? And to me, like, that's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because He created me. So this book, the foundation of this book is to believe in that, to believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who created you. Something Shaykh Yasir Qadhi said at the end of the class, that my first Al-Makh class that I took, something he said that stuck for me. And ever since that day, like, it was like he set my compass. He set my qibla to this thing, to this meeting. He told us about the exam, and he told us to study for the exam, and that students who did above 95%, they would be his close friends. They'd be his close student mentees, basically. And I was like, this guy is so cool. I want to be one of his mentees. I want to be one of his students. But I got a 92%. That's fine, right? He told us that the real exam would be on the day where we stand in front of Allah, and we have to pass an exam at that day. And he hoped that as many exams that you can fail in this dunya, that exam not be the one that we fail. That all it takes is that you are seeking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, seeking His pleasure, and you're living a life where you have that meeting in mind. What do I want that meeting to look like? What do I want it to mean for me? And for me, when I think about it, I want to be happy at that moment. I want to be proud at that moment. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Quran about the person who meets with Allah on that moment, and then they get their book in their right hand and they go back to their families and their friends and their people, and they are screaming with joy and excitement. Ha umqra'u kitabiyah. Here, check out my book today. Check out my book today. This is a day where we're not humble anymore. We're not humble, we're proud. It's like, I got this done, because the reality is, as much success and happiness we can find in this dunya, we know that another trial might be coming up. We're actually in a trial. Like, the trial in that happiness is, am I grateful enough? And if difficulty comes for me tomorrow, am I going to be patient with it? And as a human being, I'm going to always be making mistakes. I'm not perfect. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the only perfect one, right? And so am I going to always ask Allah to forgive me? Am I always going to be forgiving myself, right? So I've put a lot of that in this book. And the way it's laid out, I'll share with you one of the sections in this book. Is basically called Who Am I? Who am I? And in it, so the way the book is laid out is you have some of my words, to kind of lay the foundation for the section. So I share with you some text about this area, like what should you be mindful of? And then I ask you a question, and then I give you the space. I hope you can see it. Basically, you have the space to answer this question. And then in this section, Who Am I? You create like a word cloud of who you are. And I ask people to think about their strengths. And this is really difficult. It was difficult for me. Like, I lived a long time and I still struggle. I didn't write this book because I've perfected this. I wrote it because I honestly was trying to put the pieces together when I wrote this book. I didn't write it thinking like, I found the answer. I put the pieces together, and afterwards I actually had to go and sit in therapy and think about, this is what I believe. This is what I believe to be true. Now help me remove the barriers. Help me remove the barricades that are standing in my way. So anyway, this section talks about valuing yourself the way Allah had valued you. Like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي آدَمَ. We have honored the children of Adam. But we walk around with our heads down, feeling like we're weak, feeling like we are useless, feeling like we're mistakes, feeling like we are an accident in this world. And that at times when we do things wrong, we feel like, oh my God, it's not even worth it for me to be living in this world. But is that who we are? Is that who Allah created us to be? Of course not. One of my friends teared me up, and she messaged me and she said, I've always thought of myself from a place of weakness. So what if we thought about ourselves from a place of strength, right? Because perfection is only to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But what if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave me that perfection, that greatness, right? Not perfection, greatness. Perfection in such a way that I am perfectly made for what I was made for, right? I was perfectly made I was perfectly made for the intention, for the purpose Allah created me for, right? That I don't need to, yes, I might struggle because of the barricades that have been put up in my way, whether it was internal or external. But I have what it takes to remove them, and I have what it takes to bring out the greatness Allah already put there. So when we do that, we do it from a place of gratitude. I recently listened to Shonda Rhimes' book, The Year of Yes, which is, mashallah, I love the book. And Shonda kept on talking about this idea of like, she reached success, but she was still not happy. And she's, trying to value herself and say, yes, I am this amazing woman who wrote these stories, who did this, who did that, who did this, who did that. And I remember thinking, we're constantly going to have to fight ourselves to tell ourselves we're worthy. But we will never fight ourselves anymore. I mean, we might. Obviously, shaitan is there, and negative self-talk takes a long time to get rid of, right? It's going to be there. But then if we do it from a place of, I'm grateful Allah made me this person, then the struggle is so much easier. I don't have to convince myself that I am worthy. I already know I'm worthy because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made me worthy, and I'm so grateful to Him that I am worthy. And because of it, I'm going to live my life based on that identity, right? So when I embrace this identity of greatness, whatever it is, however it is that you see it, like I don't tell you what to put in there, you come up with it, right? You come up with it. I have this in something that I call my credo, and subhanallah, when I read it, I am like, alhamdulillah, Allah made me this person, but the idea of somebody else reading it freaks me out. And I'm like, you know what, Khaltoon, it's okay. Like, we've been conditioned to want to think less of ourselves. We've been conditioned like that. But the believer is humble and grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, the other sections in this book are titled you have a wheel of life. And I think you might know the wheel of life. It's almost in every self-help book, workbook, seminar. And the reason why I included it is that it really gives us a visual of the quality of our lives as we perceive it. Okay, as we perceive it. And if you know about the wheel of life, you basically fill it in. And what I always ask myself, if I am the car that is driving, and this is the wheel of my life that is moving me forward, what does the quality of it tell me about my ride? And so when I think of it that way, and it used to get really sad and depressing. And so what I did is that I went through each section that you will find in the Wheel of Life, and I wrote out an excerpt, like a mindset, like this is what we should be thinking of. And then I give you questions to answer. One of the first questions is always, what are you grateful for? Because we don't ever give ourselves credit. We don't tell ourselves, like, you're doing this well, alhamdulillah for that. And when we come from a place of gratitude, we do more. But when we come from a place of like, I'm useless, I'm not doing anything good, we don't do anything good. We end up not doing things that we imagine for ourselves. Okay? And I love it because not only did I try it, but I actually tried it with some of my students. And I remember the looks on their faces when they do the gratitude one and they tell me like, yeah, I'm doing good. I can do more. And so alhamdulillah for that. So the section is exactly the way I told you. Like, I lay out the foundation and then I give you questions that you could think about. And then you have the opportunity to make goals, to think about why they're important to you and how you're going to achieve it. So there is a emotional awareness section. That for me was a blessing, because truly that was one of my biggest struggles. I made a lot of dua that Allah help me understand my emotions, because they were sort of dictating my life, and I needed to understand where they were coming from, why I was feeling that way, and what is it really supposed to be like? Because our emotions are the unseen world, right? When you have a scar on your body, you see it. You put something on it, you put a Band-Aid on it, but when it comes to our emotions, we don't see them. So it's like we're trying to fix something that we can't see, and it's really difficult. But guess what? There's a sweetness to when you figure it out. And I have those principles in here, and I'm still growing in it, and I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to benefit you with it. There's another question that we will find in every section in this book, which is, what do I need to learn to be most successful in this area? And that question comes from a place of, Sheikh Muhammad al-Sharif said this quote in one of the classes that I took with him, and he said, at the time of a fitna, the only thing that benefits you is beneficial knowledge. At the time of fitna or challenge, trial, the only thing that helps you is beneficial knowledge. And I've been in situations where I really struggled with some things, whether it was my weight, my knowledge, my religious belief system, my emotions, education, what should I study, what should I not study, relationships, all these sections that I'm saying are in here. How do I use my time? Like, oh my God, my time is like, the day is ending and I haven't done anything yet. And it's like, what do I need to learn so that I'm not struggling anymore? And when you make that dua, and ask Allah, I remember feeling like, Ya Allah, I don't have information. I don't know. I don't have enough knowledge to make this decision. Everyone speaks like they're so confident with their opinion, but I don't feel that. Like, so what do I need to know so that I'm not shaky in what I'm doing, in how I'm approaching the solution to my life, right? And so putting your trust completely in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in asking Him to give you the knowledge that you need so that you could be strong in that area. So every section has that. And then every section also has, what dua do you want to make? And it has a list of the names of Allah that I could think of at the time, right? But what this section does is that it lets you remove the burden from yourself and give it to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Share it with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Place it in the hands of somebody who's more capable than you, who cares about you more than you care about yourself, who's aware of you more than you are aware of your own self, who will bring you things that you would never have thought about yourself, right? So every section has a dua, and inshallah, you'll have the space to write it. And then there's a section in here about relationships, about health, like fitness and nutrition, about emotional wellness, about worship, sweetness of worship. There's a section about money. There's a section about impact. Oh, that is like one of my favorite sections. Because when you take everything together, you are able to produce something. Whether it is in your parenting, in your job, in a project that you start, in a business, you name it. You're able to do impact. What that impact looks like is like, whoa, like it could be bigger than you. It could be bigger than anything you thought was possible, right? But what is it? Like, we have to put a life in order, and I hope, inshallah, that this helps you with that. One of the sections in the book is about time management, right? And I don't talk about it in terms of like time management. I actually talk about barakah, barakah. We all have 24 hours in the day, right? But some of us do more with those 24 hours than others. What are those principles that allow us to do more with our time? More with our time, not give me more time, okay? I'm going to create a course with this because I feel like, oh my God, Kaltun, you're running out of time and you still have a lot to go. Anyways, in conclusion, I have a section in here about fear, about Mr. Fear, because Mr. Fear is going to cripple all of us. Mr. Fear is going to make us feel like, nope, you can't do this. Nope, who do you think you are? Nope, I can't. Nope, I don't want to today. We all have that. And that, whether it is yourself that has been conditioned, whether it is words that have always been said to you and now you internalized it and you just say it to yourself automatically, you don't need anybody to do it for you, or shaitan. Shaitan is not interested in our success. When we are trying to seek Allah and we put ourselves on the way of Allah, what does shaitan say? وَلَأَقْعُدَنَّ لَهُمْ صِرَاطَكَ الْمُسْتَقِيمِ. I will sit on your path, on your straight path for them. Like I will sit on their path to you. So shaitan is the biggest barricade on our way. How do we become aware? What tools do we need to fight it? What do I need to do to help myself? Because I need to be on this path. So the book lays all that out for you. And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to benefit you with it. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala benefit you with it. May Allah benefit me with it as well. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.